Hello again, Teresa. Thank you so much for welcoming me into your home.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you today? How are the kids?
I'm doing okay. The kids are good. It's soccer season.
Oh.
So we're nice and busy.
I see.
Yeah, lots of driving.
Lots of driving. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to get to work with you again. So based on your evaluation and some of the goals that we discussed before, I've come up with some tasks to work on today. So first, what I'd like to do is talk about pain management.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all would love for that pain to decrease. So we're going to talk about that. I'm also going to introduce you. I created a home exercise plan of some stretches that you can do to help relieve that pain and that stiffness. And talk about pain management in general, what works, what doesn't, and what we can try out to see if that helps.
Okay.
We're also going to look at cooking and writing today. More specifically, writing notes, because I know that tends to hurt your wrist.
Yeah.
And with 4 kids, I can imagine you write notes a lot, whether it just be a little note for their lunch or field trip forms, things like that.
Right.
And then cooking, you noted that particularly breakfast is really difficult making that for your family. So we're going to look at that and see if we can't come up with some ideas to help with pain, fatigue, and make that process less stressful for you.
Okay. That sounds good.
Wonderful. So first, I'm going to give you this pain journal.
Okay.
So just answer this to the best of your ability. This is just going to let us track pain process throughout therapy and see if you're having a good day, a bad day for pain, and see if our pain is reduced over time. So it helps you to be able to see progress as well.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm going to give you some time to fill this out.
Okay.
Next is a copy of the pain journal. The journal asks the client to describe their pain in several ways and rate their pain with a number. So now that you're finished with that, do you mind if I take a look?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as far as describing your pain, so throbbing and aching, and we talked about last time that that's in the wrist and within your fingers, correct?
Right, yes.
Is it spread anywhere else?
Not particularly, I don't think.
Okay.
I haven't noticed that. It's not as intense anywhere else, but I could start paying more attention.
Okay. And we'd already discussed the activities that increase pain, like driving, writing, cooking, really doing anything with your hands is what you had told me before.
Yeah.
And then I see that you typically take ibuprofen to reduce your pain. Is there anything else that you do to reduce pain?
Kind of just try to push through it. I got 4 kids. Sometimes I'll try to do something different if I can. So if I was going to make lasagna but I'm in pain, I'll just get a pizza. Luckily, my husband makes enough that we can do that, but it definitely would be better if we didn't. I'd really like to be able to cook for my family, So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Absolutely. So there are a couple things that we can do as far as helping that pain. So the first thing, and it is quick because I understand that you are busy and you are on the go. And there isn't a whole lot of time probably in your day for you.
Right.
But I would recommend, they're what we call modalities. So heat and cold. So 15 minutes before exercise, applying some heat safely. I always recommend that if you're going to apply heat, try first with a paper towel or some thicker clothing on.
Oh, okay.
So that you make sure not to burn yourself.
Okay.
And then same thing with cold to make sure it doesn't hurt.
Is this written down?
Yes,
Perfect.
I actually have 2 forms for you here. So, and here are some examples of superficial heat. So what this will do is help increase circulation to reduce the stiffness in your joints and help relax your muscles. So we recommend warm baths. Heating pads are particularly great, especially sometimes they have batteries in them. So you could take that with you when you're sitting at soccer practice if it's really cold outside.
Yeah.
Electric blankets, hot water bottles, warm water soaks, things like that. And then for the cold, this is particularly good if you do a lot of strenuous stuff in one day and you really find that by the end of the day that your joints are hurting. Icing helps with inflammation and swelling. So it's great for arthritis post-exercise and just really post like stress for a day. So crush ice in a plastic bag, we've all got it. That's a very cost-effective way to do it. Also, I'm sure do your kids take their lunch to school at all ever?
Yeah, definitely.
Those cold freezer packs are wonderful for it. Frozen bags of peas, ice blocks, and contrast baths are fantastic for it.
And we have some of those cold gel packs for soccer, so I know where to get those.
Yeah, those can be really helpful as well. The other thing that we recommend, this is just one more for you, is joint protection. So what I mean by joint protection is using the biggest joint you can when you're doing activities. So for example, instead of pushing a door open using your fingers, use either the palm of your hand, but even better, your body weight to lean into that. So you're not using your hands as much. When you're picking up groceries, how do you normally pick up groceries?
Kind of like this?
I pick them up by the handle. But I kind of find, especially if I have a lot, that really starts to hurt.
Yes.
So what I recommend you do is carry your purse or big groceries on your elbow instead of in your wrist, because that's a stronger joint and it's able to use bigger muscles to help you out. So there are several tips like that. Another is using, when you're trying to push or open something, try using your palm instead of your fingers, because again, bigger muscle, bigger joint. So it'll help reduce some of that pain. Do you have any questions for me so far?
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to think, like, with my laundry detergent, I mean, I guess I could try, like, with my palms to open. I guess I'd have to try it. It sounds like it might be a little hard, but I guess I have to try it.
Another thing that you can do that can help with that, if you can't physically do it with your palms, is to use some sort of non-stick opening. So you can use and I'll show you in a bit, you can use a Silpat silicone. You can use your oven mitts to help, because you're using a wider grip and it has the grips on the bottom, which really helps you get in there and turn. And instead of turning, when you're using more of your palm, instead of turning your fingers, you're going to turn kind of your body instead and help it that way. So it's
Yeah, I think this is helpful. This explains it well.
Thank you. Let's go ahead, and I would love to see how you make breakfast for your kids in the morning. So if we could go ahead and transfer to the kitchen, that would be wonderful. Next are handouts on joint protection, heat, and cold. They provide the client with tips to use compensatory techniques and modalities to reduce pain. For the handouts on superficial heat and cold, they also provide precautions and directions for how to use modalities correctly. Client's breakfast routine. Client noted in the interview that breakfast was difficult for them to complete independently. As you can see, Teresa presents with pain in her wrist and fingers, weakness in her upper extremities, and is short of breath. She becomes frustrated with the task. Teresa requires multiple trials before she can open the jar of jelly and struggles to utilize the knife. Teresa takes longer than anticipated to complete this task and notes that after she finishes her breakfast routine, she is often fatigued. Adapted breakfast routine. This clip shows the client reverse demonstrating an adapted breakfast routine. Teresa utilizes an oven mitt to open the jar. She also utilizes a spoon to retrieve the jelly from the jar, spreading it with a knife with a built-up handle. Both of these widen the client's grip on the items, reducing stress at the affected joints. Client is not short of breath and reports that her pain is less than it usually is following kitchen tasks. The following is a home exercise plan that the OT created for the client. The HEP includes stretches for the client to utilize in the morning, evening, and after strenuous exercise to reduce stiffness and pain. Well, Teresa, that's the end of today's session. Do you have any questions for me before I head out?
When's our next session?
So our next session is going to be on Tuesday of next week.
Okay, perfect.
From 4:30 to 5:30. Does that time still work for you?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing you again and seeing how some of these techniques are helping you.
Yeah.
And I'd like to focus on next time is driving, which is another big thing and big goal that we had discussed. Dinner and dinner prep and looking at meal prep, seeing how we can make that more adaptive to your life. And I'd also like to look at laundry.
Okay. Those all sound like good things. All things that I need.
Absolutely. So I'm glad that we have been able to work together, and I will see you next week.
See you next week. I'll walk you out.